Mr. Joseph Ngata. Joe Ngata. Will Joe Ngata finally break out this season in 2022? Now, let me give you some stats here. Joe Ngata, high 4-star, 5-star, depending on what recruiting outlet you look at. Al, you and I, we did a review on him. We loved him. Everything about it was awesome. We loved it. 2019, as a freshman, 240 yards, 3 touchdowns. 2020, he had that oblique problem. I think he had some foot issues, maybe even a hand issue, neck, ears, nose, throat, whatever. All kinds of things going wrong with the entire team. Not just him, not throwing shade, but the entire team. 2020, he had 83 yards and 0 touchdowns. And then 2021, 438 yards and 1 touchdown. And was actually second, which just makes it even worse, to Justin Ross as far as yards, receiving yards, who Justin Ross had his own batch of troubles and is continuing to try to get out of those troubles. Now having a second foot surgery and can't even play this year in the NFL to have his opportunity. So still guy who's been dealing with a lot of injuries. Joe Ngata behind him. Now, I know the chat. I can see the chat. It's like tick, 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 tick. The guy who threw him the ball is definitely part of the issue, right? We know that. But these are definitely, this is now 3 years of experience, and he doesn't have 1,000 yards total in his career. He only has 4 total receiving touchdowns right now. I still feel like I have faith in him to be what we expected him to be from Folsom, California. But my question to you guys is, do you feel like that he will make a break? He will step up and have a breakout season this year? I don't know who we started with last question. Was it Houston? Was it Al? Whoever we didn't start with, continue.
All right.
You have the floor.
All right. So Houston pointed to himself, so I guess that means I go first, right? Okay. Well, that's perfect because, we talked a lot about Ngata. I remember doing his high school film, and what's crazy is, and we've talked about this on the show before, this kid, to me, had some of the best receiver film I've seen from a high school player. And that's not to say, he had, the longest touchdowns or anything like that. What I mean by that is he did everything well. Everything. I'm talking about deep passes, short passes, blocking, catching in traffic, high point, everything. Running routes. He did everything well. I thought this kid was going to come in and be one of the best receivers Clemson's ever had. Now, that has not played out at all, most of which is all due to injury. I'm here to say, yeah, DJ, he was part of the problem last year, and we all know that, but it's him being healthy. That's really all it is. Can he stay healthy? Because I still think this kid's going to do it. I think it's going to happen this year if he can stay healthy. That's the key. I hate having to put that asterisk on everything, but if he can stay healthy, yes, I absolutely think he's going to be the receiver we all thought he was going to be when he got here. I saw somebody over in the comments say that they thought he was a developmental receiver. I don't think he was a developmental guy at all. I think maybe he was thinking of a Joe. He was very developmental. Obviously, he did not, end up sticking around. But yeah, I'm going to have to disagree with Big Mick there. Ngata was ready-made coming out of high school. The kid looked like the part coming off the bus, physically ready to rock and roll, except for injury-wise. It's just kind of one of those things that's happened. He's been snake bit his whole career. I hope that doesn't happen this year because I'm telling you, I love this kid and I think he's got what it takes to be a star.
Literally, his go-to moves are all the same moves and same plays in high school that they are still using in college. He just has to stay healthy and be able to complete those and be out on the field. You got to be on the field if you want to perform. And that's the biggest thing for me is that, he's constantly dealing with the injury bug. We got a lot of people in the chat mentioning that as well. But again, Al, when you go back and watch his film, I did a little bit of a review today. Mm-hmm. He's blowing by guys. And he's in Folsom. This is not some scrub team where he's playing scrubs. He's over there in California playing legit competition, high-level high school football. He's beating guys deep. He's knocking guys over. He's jumping like 7 feet in the air, hurdling people, diving into the end zone, one-handed catches, one-on-one in the back of the corner of the end zone, doing literally wide receiver screen monster. I put down here again, was a wide receiver screen killer. Would you say that right now? Would you say he's a jump ball killer right now? Would you say he's a one-on-one, a deep threat, an extra yards guy, an every play guy, fought off everyone? These are the notes I had from his senior year.
Yeah.
But you don't see it at all right now because of the injuries. So his potential, yeah, definitely still there. Houston, what you think?
So, and someone was getting to this point when I was thinking kind of how I would put this. Dabo has a knack for sticking with his guys and pumping them up, and a lot of times we're all like, "Are you sure?" I don't see it. I don't see it with this guy. Someone mentioned the first example was Cornell Powell. What did he do for 3 years, 4 years, however long before his last year in 2020? I don't remember. I don't remember anything. And then in 2020, he becomes the best wide receiver on the team, hands down, takes over. And that's what Dabo Swinney had been saying for a long time. I think about Kevin Dodd on defense. Kevin Dodd is coming along. He's coming along. Brent Venables doesn't think he's going to do anything, but I'm telling you, this guy's going to do it. And what's he do in 2015? The light comes on. And so not just with Joe Ngata, but even with DJ, he's been pumping both these guys up for a long time. And one side of it is if they don't perform, it's not like there isn't replacements this time, right? I don't think he wants to dive into that because he has a belief in that. I also think that if you're willing to pump these guys up and dig in, maybe he knows something. Maybe he knows that they've turned a corner. Because this has been something that's pretty, even something like Hunter Renfrow. He knew about Hunter Renfrow before anybody else did, right? So he knows what he's talking about. So I could see this absolutely being a year where it's another year of developed chemistry between DJ and Joe Ngata. Maybe DJ has finally cleared his head. Maybe he's been able to slow the game down a little bit. And maybe for Joe Ngata, it's been a chance for him to finally get healthy, because that's issue number one, and then finally get what essentially is needed to be a wide receiver at Clemson. And I think it can happen, hopefully, because if it's not like there isn't other options this year.
Yeah, Al, Houston, I agree with you guys. I think Joe, if this is going to be it, I mean, this could be it. I mean, you're talking about Cornell Powell. I interviewed Dabo Swinney. I had a question for him. I said, "Hey, Dabo, you keep saying that Cornell Powell is going to break out. This is like he's showing out in practice. But I said, it seems like he's Mr. Friday, but not Mr. Saturday. Is this really the year?" And Dabo said, "Hey, I believe it. I really do." And guess what, man? Literally that year, they needed him the most. He was Mr. Clutch. He was Mr. Saturday for Trevor Lawrence when he needed him. And he got himself into the NFL because of how well he did. And so I really think that Joe Ngata has that same opportunity. He just has to take advantage of it. And again, as we mentioned, he's got all the talent in the world. He's got all the film in the world. He just got to stay healthy and get out on the field. You can't get yards if you're not on the field at all. So that's a big deal. And you know what? These players, they know. They're their own biggest critic. If you're trying to be an elite NFL type guy, you're probably beating yourself up too, trying to make sure that you meet your own expectations. So, but they know. I'll be interested to see, because if he can be that guy that he was in high school, Al, that's the deep threat guy.
Yeah,
that's the one-on-one guy that Clemson sorely missed last year.